3, 2, 1. Happy 10-year YouTube anniversary!
That sounded smoother in my mind, but when we said it, it just went on forever.
So on May 30th, 2008 is the day that we landed in Korea to start living overseas as teachers, and it's also the very first video that we've ever shot.
Annyeonghaseyo. We're here in Korea and we're enjoying our first meal, even though it's like 9 o'clock at night in Canada.
What I have here is a kimchi soup, and it's spicy as hell, but it's some of the most delicious kimchi soup I've ever had.
The very first video we ever filmed, we had just gotten off the plane and then we went for sundubuchige. Oh my god, you know what's funny is I recently tried to imitate that video and I can't even fake that bad of an accent. I'm like, annyeonghaseyo.
Annyeonghaseyo.
But even now I'm saying like, heyo, like I've got the
Annyeonghaseyo.
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 Oh my god, I had no idea that that video would go up online and be viewed by anyone outside of like mom, dad, Nicole, and like your family. That's it.
So in our 10 years living overseas and in our 10 years of creating videos of YouTube, we've seen a lot change. We've grown a lot and a lot of different things have happened. So we want to spend this video rambling for a very long time about many of the different things that we've learned from these 10 years of YouTube, because our perspective is going to be very different from other people that might be a lot newer to the platform. Whenever we think about YouTube and the state that it's in right now, we think about like the whole 10 years. And let me tell you, back in the days, it was grim, boy. There was no YouTube app. There was no notification bell. There were no playlists. There were no annotations.
The comments couldn't be like, you couldn't block or hide or like all the things that you can do now. The listing of ordering from like newest to, I mean, there's just so many things. You know what strikes me though as the thing that, that I recall the most?
What was the biggest thing that changed on YouTube?
Oh, I think the biggest thing was for 2 years.
Yes.
For 2 years, there was no ability for us to make a single penny.
That's right. AdSense was not available in Asia for 2 years that we were making videos. So we were just making videos because we enjoyed making videos. It was fun. We didn't go into YouTube think that we were gonna make a career out of this. We just had a quirky little hobby. We were doing this to connect with our families, and we were doing this also to connect with a lot of the community of people that were moving to Korea as teachers. A lot of our first videos are about like how to use your washing machine, how to make lesson plans, how to like throw out your recycling.
So you might remember a couple of videos ago we showed you our brand new super cool cell phones.
Hi guys, I'm a T-Money card.
So this acts as a reloadable card for the subway or bus, and people have told us that it also works for a few taxis. So these boxes are located right here and right here.
So back then, it wasn't like a business idea. It was just for fun.
What I was gonna say was, not only was it not a business idea, it wasn't like a, maybe in the future we can make money, because it wasn't even like an inkling of possibility.
Right.
So like nowadays, I think a lot of people that will join YouTube will go, this could be a career. Like maybe if I try hard enough or I work hard enough, this could be a career. And then as things start getting rolling for them, it's kind of like starting a part-time job. And then maybe one day Adpocalypse happens and then you're like furious because what you've been paid has suddenly changed. But for us, we're like, is it better than getting paid nothing for 2 years?
For real, anyone that's complaining about demonetization, you haven't gone 2 years with $0. So yes, demonetization is an issue for a lot of people, but for us, we will always remember those hungry 2 years that we had. Nothing will feel as bad as that time.
Simon and Martina, fun fact.
Yes.
Did you know that we used to make our own music from scratch because there was no YouTube library? Currently, we pay for Epidemic Sound, which is why our music library has changed a lot, because we're actually paying for like incredible artists.
Yes, the music is a lot better quality than what we used to make on our own. So we started using GarageBand, and Martina had a little keyboard, and she would do 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 do.
Here are my favorite hit songs.
This week's Music Monday is the Godly Edition with JYJ's A Girl. Okay, so so welcome to our first episode of TLDR Thursdays, where we answer all your questions in video format.
The wonderful treasure find of the week. Spudgy. Spudgy boy. You wanna go outside? Hey. Spudgy, be nice to people, come on. Kids wanna say hi to you, come on. Welcome to this week's K-pop chart update. So this ties into the question that we asked for our sponsors in the community tab. Happy Hauser wound up asking, have there ever been times, even now, where you felt that continuing a career on YouTube could possibly no longer be a viable option for the future of the company? And for us, the answer is every damn day. Every day. I keep on expecting YouTube to just like shut down. Not because of I'm noticing any trends in YouTube that make me think that way, but I just remember there not being anything like this before. So if things go back to the default of zero ad dollars and zero possibility of a career, you're like, yeah, it figures.
Yeah, we kind of feel like, oh, we had a good run.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, never thought we'd go this way.
Did it while we could.
So I think that's why that whole stressful side that's happening with newer creators, like I think that stress that they have is because it was kind of locked in the mode that YouTube will succeed and YouTube will always be there.
Sure.
But because we entered in before there was YouTube possibility, then it started happening and we were like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
Holy smokes.
We've always been like, strap on the helmet, we're gonna enjoy this bumpy ride while we can. Whoa, whoa.
And that mentality sticks with us to this day. A lot of our opinions of YouTube are going to be tainted by that. So they might not be fully applicable to you or to other YouTubers, but maybe this could offer a different perspective as opposed to what you might be hearing online.
Tuesday, we are moving out of Bucheon into our new apartment in Seoul.
Yes. We just have so many places here that take care of us for so long.
Are you crying already? Becky!
We have our Ajima Samgyeopsal shop and the Golden Gogui place and the Japanese restaurant and 12-doll coffee and Cafe Lua, and we have to say bye to all of them. I know we're not even leaving Korea, but still.
Don't be afraid to change.
But it's scary.
Sure is.
It feels scary to change.
Because for those of you that have been watching us for a long time, you've seen very many changes with us, including like how we physically look. Like back when we started, I was like a dorky looking, pudgy little teacher with glasses and a little like crappy hair. And then like I had a red mohawk and I shaved the side of my head. And then I became like a twink and I was super skinny at like 180 pounds. And then after the red mohawk, I went to the struggle bun. Do you remember me holding on to like my hair? And then I accepted my baldness and I shaved my head. And now I have a big beard. I've changed so much. Fun fact. Back when I had a red mohawk, male demographic was only 7%. So small. But since I started growing my beard, the male demographic went up to 40%. I think we know what that means.
Is it a coincidence?
Hey boys, you like my beard? Yes you do. You meant, hey man, don't unsubscribe. You like this.
And when we say don't be afraid to change, we're not just talking about like physical appearance.
Sure.
Because obviously everyone's going to change in like a 10-year span.
Right.
We're more talking about don't be afraid to change your content. So when we first started doing YouTube videos, we were really focused on the expat community. And then we started to get into music reviews. So we started to do K-pop reviews, and that was actually for our students. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to connect with our Korean students because at first they were really excited that you were there, that you're like an English speaker, but then that fun wears off after like 3 weeks when they realize that you have to actually teach them something. So we got into K-pop for our students, and then we started making these reviews, and then we'd show our students these videos like at school at the end of class, and it was in English.
And when we were doing these K-pop videos, we did it for a while until afterwards, when we learned more about the K-pop industry, how dark it was, how people were being treated terribly, we just kind of started falling out of love with it. And it was a big move for us to say, hey, I'm not passionate about this topic anymore. I don't want to do it. And we stopped. And there was like people that were pretty upset about it, but that didn't mean the end of our channel. We kept growing. We kept trying to change. We kept on trying new things. And it's so scary. I know if you have a formula that you've got down pat, you think this is what my audience likes, but sometimes if you don't feel it in your heart, you can't keep pushing yourself to do it.
It's like people feel like, well, it's working, so I guess I'll just do that. And you know exactly what I mean when I say this.
You definitely see it. There are some YouTubers that you watch that you know that you see that the love has died from their eyes, and they're just churning out their videos because they think that's what their audience wants. And then when people stop watching them, when their numbers start dropping or their subscribers start dropping, here's the next thing, they start blaming the algorithm for it. People get bored of content. It's natural.
You know.
Like we've had favorite TV shows that we like we used to love 30 Rock. I watched like 3 or 4 seasons of it, and afterwards I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's not really that new for me anymore.
We were hooked on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, and then afterwards like, I've had enough of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's not the algorithm. Sometimes you just need to change.
And so you have to accept that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And so for us, when we started doing K-pop, we enjoyed it. We loved it. And then it started to get really dark and it started to drag us down.
Right. We got bored and we changed, and it was scary.
It was scary. People told us like, oh, everyone's gonna leave your channel. And I went, okay, well if they do, they do, because I don't want to be making videos that I don't want to do anymore.
Right. And then 2.5 years ago, we decided, hey, let's stop making Korea videos altogether and move to a new country. Let me tell you, that's terrifying as well.
Really scary.
We had a coffee shop, we had a studio, we had staff. We got rid of all of that so we could come and try something new. And a lot of people have noticed in the comments that we look a lot happier. There's a joy in our eyes again. There's a spark. But you have to be true to yourself and not just make videos for a machine.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
My snow globe collection. I don't want to be myself. No one seen it? Fun fact! Even though we're often talked about for reviewing K-pop, we also introduced lesser-known Korean indie music from February 2012 up until when we left for Japan during the Korean indie playlist, and then later on during Martina's mixtapes. Honestly, it's always disappointed us that Korea only pushed K-pop while ignoring the super talented Korean musicians and artists that they have right under their noses. If you're sick of K-pop, but you still love good music, I really urge you to check out our past Korean indie playlist to discover some new musicians.
And we have a very, very special edition for you because it is Hongdae Fest.
안녕하세요, 24 아웃입니다.
Come on, ground!
저희는 댄서입니다.
찌안찌아서입니다.
밴드 포스패닉입니다.
저희는 러백스타입니다.
싱어송라이터 강아솔이라고 합니다.
I think the biggest weakness that we've had in our 10 years of YouTube, even to this day we struggle with it, is how we handle negative comments. I feel like we're such a strong couple otherwise, we're so driven and we work hard, but negative comments are just so tough to handle. We are a lot better at it now than when we first were, because I remember like when we first started getting negative comments, we actually wanted to just delete our YouTube channel and move back to Canada and live in the woods away from society, because I thought that everybody in Korea had seen our videos and had little prison shiz and they were gonna stab us in the streets. We did not handle the criticism well at all.
Oh my gosh, when Shinhwa made a comeback.
Oh my God.
And we just simply said,
Shinhwa, even though we immensely respect them for doing all that they did back in the past, are more relevant back in the past, not so much right now. In the era of K-pop boy bands, Shinhwa is more of a man band. And so when this song came out on the K-pop charts, it only got 1,600 votes, which is good, but compared to Bilosa and EXO, they got around 9,000 and 10,000 votes. You see what I'm saying here? So I think that the Nunas are totally digging the song, but younger people, I'm not really all too sure. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong here. It's just that Shinhwa didn't crash our site and take down our server the way Shiny did. Let us know what you think in the comments. So if you haven't seen it yet, check out Shinhwa's Venus coming up next.
I mean, the death threats rolled
Holy
in.
smokes.
I was like, we can't leave our house.
Nope.
We were still living in Bucha at the time.
Yep.
I was like, we can't leave our house. Like,
We were looking out of our window. I'm like, does anybody know where we live? Are they looking at us? Are there any like, so it was weird. Like we were not comfortable with the negativity at all.
And I think that something that really woke me up and kind of like shook me out of this perspective was actually my friend Jackie.
Yep.
And I was ranting to Jackie about how scared I was and how upset I was. And I mentioned the word Tumblr and she was like, what's a Tumblr? And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
What do you mean, what's a Tumblr?
What's a Tumblr? And so I realized, right, there's a divide between the real world that everyone functions in and the internet world. And sometimes you need to take a step back and go, this is not your life.
It's not a representation of the whole.
It's not a representation of people who care for you or your friends or your audience members that like you. This is a representation of something on the internet that's like ethereal. It's a program that you can close. I can close Twitter. I can log off of Tumblr.
I could walk away. I could go have a meal somewhere. I could talk to my friends. I could go play some basketball. They're like, it just feels
so
like
hard.
It felt for us because we were just like starting and we were growing and like our careers depend on this. It makes us afraid that we're going to be able to keep on going, and we're not that way anymore.
Yeah, we've stepped back from that kind of a fear.
Yeah. The very first time that we actually went into a Google office and we met YouTube employees was back in Google Korea. And I remember when we stepped in there, I felt like I was invited to the Oprah show.
Yeah.
I felt like this is it. I've made the big time. This was back when we had only like 20,000 subscribers. And the first thing that we were discussing with our partner manager at the time was, how do we handle online trolls?
Yeah.
It was literally the first thing, like, I don't know what to do. This person is saying negative things about us.
We wrote back to people and we used to be really rude.
Sure.
Like, I mean,
I regret that so much.
Snide, rude the root of our university souls. We would tear people down for their commentary.
I know.
And it was mean. And we were really firing back.
And then they were like, just ignore them.
What
do you mean?
Sorry,
what do you mean just ignore them?
After talking to a partner manager, we realized if you're only taking care of the weeds in your garden, like if there's this giant thorny, dandelion growing up and you're watering it and you're taking care of it, it's gonna grow and it's gonna take over all your beautiful flowers and all the great things. So we really said, okay, well, why are we focusing on these negative things in our garden, right? Why don't we focus on the amazing commenters that are leaving positive comments?
A big step in this is accepting that people are going to have negative opinions of you, and you can't change that, and you just have to be okay with it. The effort that you try to put into changing somebody's mind oftentimes goes unheard.
Teaching them a lesson.
Oftentimes won't change their minds at all. They'll probably won't even see the comment or even respond to it.
Not probably.
Like we've written long comments, they don't even look at it.
No.
You can't let that affect you. And after 10 years, we're not perfect yet, but I feel like we're in a lot better place than we were when we first started.
Definitely.
And let me tell you, stepping away from talking about K-pop has made things a lot easier because ain't nobody mad about a cheese sandwich, but people sure are mad when you talk about their favorite singers.
Yep, they sure are. They sure are. Fun fact, our McDonald's delivery video was our first viral video.
Yep.
I wish there was some magical way I could have McDonald's just appear at my doorstep.
Shazam!
And I remember we went to sleep after posting up that video, and we woke up, and there were so many views.
There was like 50,000 views on the video overnight, and
we're like,
what has happened here? And like we saw the comments, and everyone was like, this is not true. There's no delivery in America. This is a lie.
And no one knew, even though in the video we were like, delivery in Korea, and people were like, this is a lie. And it was the first time for us to ever experience really negative comments. It was our first experience with trolls, and we were so shocked. We were going to remove it.
I know. I was like, this is terrible. I can't. What is all these people saying? All these. Now we're used to it. So whenever we wake up in the morning and I check the comments, if I see 3 angry comments in a row, I'm like, we're probably on the trending
we're probably trending.
And I look like, yep, there we are.
There
and everyone's like, weep, you're so ugly. Kill yourself. You can tell now just by the comments if you're on the trending page. Speaking of being true to yourself, here's another one. For people that are looking to make a career online, hey, don't say yes to every single brand deal that comes your way. A lot of them aren't necessarily good for you, they're not good for your content, and they're not good for your audience. We've said no to many more than we've said yes to.
I think one of the things that people are afraid of is when you first get approached with a brand deal, like for the first time ever, or the first few times, you think, this is amazing. Like, if I don't say yes, then nothing will ever come my way again. But if someone is coming your way, or if there is a deal coming your way, odds are you're gonna have more. It's not like it's a fluke, like we're gonna give you this money and then no other brand's ever gonna approach you again. I wanna be able to look back on my career, whether it was as a teacher or as a YouTuber, and I wanna be able to know that like everything I've said yes to, that I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. I don't wanna look back and have regret or feel like I was selling something to you guys that I didn't believe in myself.
Exactly.
You know?
Whenever we do a sponsorship, it's usually for something that we believe our audience is gonna like, and it's something that we believe will be useful to you, and it's also something that we think we can make a fun video out of. If it doesn't meet that criteria, we don't want to work with them.
So there's a lot of brands that we've worked with before, and when they give us the contract or when they discuss terms with us, it is very rare that we ever just okay it. We'll say things like, well, we don't really do this approach, like can we do it this way? I prefer to do it that way. And we've had a lot of people be like, especially now that YouTube has become more popular, but we've had people say things to us like, oh, well, we work with bigger YouTubers than you, and they don't make these requests. And then we go, okay, then I guess it's not gonna work.
And then just go to them.
And then they're like, wait,
wait, what do you mean? What do you mean no?
I'll give you a real quick example. If you knew how many plastic surgery clinics messaged us
in Korea,
I mean, we could have 100% retired. I'm aware of my facial flaws because the internet has made that extremely...
Don't worry, you've told us exactly how ugly we are. We know every single flaw in our bodies just as well as you do.
We got it. I still don't want plastic surgery. It's not for me.
And I don't believe that's a message that I want to share with other people. If plastic surgery is your thing, fine. That's not my thing. That's not something that I want to endorse for other people.
No, so we turned it down multiple and many, many times. We were really excited to be able to work with brands that were able to accept us for who we are, and we were really happy to reject brands that don't want us to be ourselves.
And I hope that the videos that you see that are sponsored, you enjoy. That it doesn't get in the way of you enjoying the video. And we always make very, very sure to disclose every single brand deal that we have, just in case you feel that we're being dishonest, which we never will be. I at least want to give you that extra bit of information so you can make the decision on your own. A small tip that you should probably consider, that's a very important one. If you ever get approached by a company, read your contract. Make sure you read who owns the video rights. Make sure you read how the payment is going to be done. Make sure you read what their requirements are, and don't be afraid to make amendments. Just read your contracts. I can't believe how many people we've spoken with that don't read their contracts and get trapped in really bad situations.
And what I will say is that contracts are made to be confusing. When we first started reading contracts, I was like, I don't know what this means. When they're like, the person therefore now referred to as hitherto client.
These incredibly long run-on sentences.
It can take us weeks, it can take us months. It can take us a long time to read through these contracts, but that way we never have to get in trouble or have problems with something that we don't like. If they are really complicated and you can't read it, you need to hire a lawyer. And there are levels of lawyers. There are ones that are like made for people that can't afford lawyers like us. And I know that some people will say like, well, I don't have the money to hire a lawyer. Okay, but you won't have the money to do anything after you sign your life away on this contract that you didn't read.
There is no rush. Have patience. Balance.
Balance,
Zuko, you must have balance. Speaking of terrible contracts, here's a very important one. Do not join an MCN. An MCN is a multi-channel network. You might have heard of some of them before, which I'm afraid to name right now because I think they might try to sue us.
I don't know.
But they are these like different networks that like own a bunch of content from different creators. They'll approach them and be like, hey, do you want to join our network? We'll give you higher CPMs and we'll give you brand deals. Every single YouTuber that we've spoken with, small and even profoundly bigger than us, have had terrible experiences with MCNs.
I think the appeal with an MCN is that when you first start making YouTube videos, you kind of feel like you don't know how to handle all the working parts, right? And a lot of people, when they first join YouTube and start doing that, it can feel overwhelming.
Sure.
And MCNs will come along and say, hey, you're growing fast or you're doing well, and like, we want to help you get bigger. We want to help you do more.
It's a lie.
It's honestly a lie. It's a lie.
An MCN will promise you like attention and they're gonna promise you help, but we know so many people, like I said, profoundly bigger than us, that have been very much neglected by their MCNs, that the MCNs take a big portion of their ad revenue and give back very little. Our approach was, if we wanted a manager, we just decided, let's separate some of our own revenue and hire our own manager that could take care of things exclusively for us. And if you want to go that route, I highly recommend that. The position that we're in Japan is a different one. We're not with an MCN, we're with an agency. So the agency doesn't control our videos. They don't have a say in what we must say or do in our videos. They don't control our ad revenue. That's ours. If we do want to work with another company, if you want to work with another prefecture, then they will help work that out, because we can't speak enough Japanese in order to speak with local governments and whatnot. Maybe there's a story of somebody you heard that's doing well. We've been in this for 10 years. We've heard many words.
Simon and Martina, fun fact.
It's time for Food Adventure Program for Awesome People!
The Meat Soup Edition.
On February 29th, 2012, we debuted our very first food adventure program for awesome people, aka called the Fat Fap. And the reason that started was because I broke my ankle rescuing orphan kittens from a building that was on fire.
You broke your ankle dancing.
I broke my ankle dancing at a club.
They see me rolling, they hating, cause I'm white and nerdy. Wah wah.
It's the painkiller mobile.
Jump dance, the best kind of dance move.
Well, I was jumping in the air, and this drunk person was like, rah, and then I landed on their foot, so they broke my ankle. But it led
the Food Adventure Program for Awesome People. It's the Fat Fap.
And now we go. Racy there. Last one, there's the redneck.
That's not the heck.
When we usually come here, it's just us when it comes to foreigners or like older generation.
I've never seen another foreigner here apart from those that we've invited.
Yeah, and I think it's because it can be kind of scary. Usually a lot of the menus are in completely Korean.
It's fully Korean.
Yeah, and the soups aren't something that necessarily look like easy to understand.
Yeah, you look at the picture and it just looks like a bowl of mess and you have no idea what it's going to be.
Bowl of delicious hot mess.
Some of this mess is awesomely delicious.
And the Fat Faps have changed so much over time as well. Like it started with a formula and now we're doing Fat Faps on a very different way with different camera angles and different approaches, and we're trying high-end Fat Faps and low-end Fat Faps.
Fapping all over Japan.
We're just doing all these different things. Fat Faps. Speaking of YouTube, it's not a faceless corporation. It is made up of people.
I do think that one of the biggest misconceptions that's kind of floating around on the internet after any change happens, you know, is that people visualize YouTube as like this big rich person or like 5 rich people sitting
like
in evil chairs.
Like just mad men, like just tenting their fingers. And they're like,
you're out of the algorithm and you are demonetized.
And they view YouTube as very evil, but from our experience, that's not true. We've met over this past decade many people working at YouTube, and they are without a doubt some of the smartest, most interesting, most capable people we have ever met in our entire lives.
Not to mention, extremely hardworking. You know, if there's a new feature that comes out on YouTube, there will be teams of people that are trying to develop it. And they're not trying to develop it because they want us all to suffer as creators.
Right.
They think that oh, like, I think this will be really good, or like, I hope this new feature works out.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time they will contact different YouTubers, like happens with us as well, and they'll say, we really want your feedback on this. We're thinking of changing this. What do you guys think? And we're capable of giving our totally honest opinions. We'll say to them, oh, this is great, we really like this. Or we'll say, we absolutely hate this. Or we'll say, this is really buggy, or this is what our audience told us. Like when we started doing sponsors with you guys, sponsorship program, you guys told us things that were problems, like it wasn't available in some countries, or the panel wasn't working, or the community tab was like not working for a while. And so
we'll speak with YouTube and we'll tell them, hey, this is what needs to be fixed, this is what needs to be changed. Here's how it could be made better. There are lots of people working at YouTube to try to make this a better thing. We don't see it as evil as some people make it out to be. There's Ines, who we will always consider our YouTube mom. There's David, there's Bumhue, there's Jason, there's Jess, and there's a long list of people that if we keep on naming, the Oscar music will probably tell us to get off the stage. But these are all really great, really nice people.
The reason we say that is because these people were people who believed in us. Like they were there, they saw us as people. Don't worry, like you be you. Like I like what you're doing, I like what you're creating. We just had a really warm relationship with people. And I think that everyone has forgotten that YouTube is made up of both creators, which are people, and people working for YouTube, which are people. And recently there was that really terrible shooting that happened
in San Bruno.
And it was the first time that I think in a long time the internet kind of remembered that YouTube was made up of real human beings working at a headquarter and not just like evil people set out to destroy particular channels. YouTube has become this huge platform, so it's being run by tons and tons and tons of teams all around the world.
This isn't to say that YouTube is perfect and we're gonna give them a pass for everything. YouTube can definitely improve, and we see it trying to improve, but I'm not gonna believe that they're terrible. You just can't convince me.
No. Simon and Martina, fun fact!
Okay, so welcome to our first episode of TLDR Thursdays, where we answer all your questions in video format.
Our very first TLDR, which means too long didn't read, and those are the ones where we do like informational programs and
kind of
stuff.
like this one.
The first one we ever put out was May 19th, 2011, and a lot of people don't know this, but there's Simon and Martina, which is our main channel. And then there's Simon and Martina Bonus. In
which we have like some bloopers from our videos. We do some like live streams there also. And before, we used to do our TLDR segments.
Eventually, we put it up on our main channel. We actually uploaded 62 videos to Simon and Martina Bonus since 2011. And we went on to do a lot of like really, really deep topics, including mistakes we made in Korea, being a foreigner in Korea, modesty, Korean versus North American beauty standards, bullying in South Korea, crime and safety, sexism, teen pregnancy. And we tackled
a lot.
So for those of you looking to like dig into more information about Korea, head on over to Simon and Martina Bonus.
We're gonna end off this video by answering Paisley's question again from the Rainbow Ladder support on the community tab. And she says, where do you think your channel is headed in the next 5, 10, maybe 20 years? And the answer is, we don't know. We're terrible at predicting things. We thought we'd be in Korea for 1 year and then Japan for 1 year, and we were really wrong on both ends. We're not good at predicting. What we want to do is to let inspiration take us wherever it is. The reason why we're so interested in food videos here in Japan is because there's a whole new level of detail and passion that we're noticing in chefs that's inspiring us to ask more questions. And when we lose that inspiration and we start looking somewhere else, we're going to keep following that for as long as we possibly can. And I really hope that you could come along with us for the journey.
Yeah, and I know a lot of you guys have been looking forward to more of those like TLDR segments where we answer more questions about the country we're living in. And I'm sure we're gonna do that in the future, but as you saw, it was 2011 when we started that in Korea, so it was 3 years before we started doing that. So we still need to get to know Japan as well before we start digging into other stuff.
Exactly.
So we can't really predict what we're gonna talk about or what we're gonna do. I just hope that it's something that still gives you guys a smile. We wanna make sure our videos make you guys happy, and I want you to be able to know that if you watch one of our videos, you can say, all right, this is gonna help me build my ladder, or this is gonna help me like keep going or have a great week. And that's basically the only perspective that I have on our videos.
We're just gonna keep on making videos because we like them. And I hope that you're gonna watch them. But even if you don't, we'll keep making them in our 50s and 60s when we're puttering about in our gardens, in our rocking chairs. Like, we enjoy what we're doing. This is fun.
Today, Martina's gonna read to you a passage from her favorite book. Simon, is this in focus?
How are we doing to focus?
Is this thing on? Is this new Fandangle thing on, Simon? We love you guys. Thank you for staying with us. If you're new to our channel, thank you for coming with us on this current new little journey we're on. And yeah, thanks for being with us and seeing us be silly. I might end this with a montage.
Well, we've been talking for a long time, and I've not the sprightly energy that I had of yesteryear. I can't talk for this long without like, when's my nap? It's time for us to go to sleep.
It's time for Sleep Adventure Program for tired old people.
Sounds like old people porn.
It is. It's the dream
time
we have.
Snuggles.
안녕히 계세요.